protect speech that we like. It protects all speech within it. It protects commentary, criticism, especially on occasions such as this. It protects speech that I would not like. Speech I've suffered. It protects it. You may not like the speech you hear, but it's protected. Throughout this trial, you'll hear testimony and see evidence that demonstrates several key points. You will see the actual videos and social media posts Mr. Foreman created. You'll be able to judge for yourselves whether they are false, whether they're his opinions, whether they're artistic expression that is all protected. It's about the right to comment on criticize public officials without fear of retribution, without fear of getting sued. It is about the right to create artistic expressions that are matters of public concern. The plaintiffs are law enforcement officers. They perform a cardinal public function. But with that public role comes public accountability. It also comes a certain standard that you have to understand. And as public officials, they can be criticized. They may not like it, but it's allowed. Plaintiffs have the burden of proving their claims. The evidence will show they cannot meet that burden. The evidence will show that Joe's videos, posts, and commentary were artistic expression for matters of legitimate public concern, his opinions on the law enforcement officers, and how they were performing their duties. If the plaintiffs prevail in this case, what message will that send to this country if they prevail? It sends the message that if you criticize law enforcement, if you comment on how they conduct themselves, if you mock them, if you create art with them in it, they can sue you. That's not the America we live in. That's not why we have a Constitution in the First Amendment. That's not why the First Amendment is in the Constitution of the state of Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, upon the examination of the evidence at the end of this trial, I'm confident you'll conclude that Joe did nothing wrong. While the plaintiffs are unhappy, upset with what was said, he exercised a right he had, a right that every American has. He commented on matters of public concern. He created art. He did what any stand-up citizen would do. He made his voice heard to the people. At the end of this trial, I'm going to ask you to return a verdict in favor of Mr. Foreman on every one of their claims. I'll ask that you vindicate his First Amendment rights. And I'll ask that you send a message to the American people that you can criticize public officials and that we are not living in a dictatorship where if you don't like what is said, you just sue someone to shut them up. Thank you.
I think I was going to start calling witnesses, but I'm going to tell you what this case is not. Okay. This case is not going to be an analysis of why the magistrate issued a search warrant, or what the facts were leading to the search warrant, or the backstory of the warrant. That's the subject for criminal cases. So the fact that there's a search warrant is what this case is about, not the backstory of it. So we hear people talking about criticism of the why and the whole deal. That's not relevant testimony. We're living with, there was a search warrant, nothing backstory. This case is not about excessive force in entering. The court's already determined as a matter of law that it was not excessive. You'll see testimony of damage, but that's a legal standard about whether it's more than customary or expected in the realm of a search warrant. Search warrants are lawful forced entry. So you won't get, was that too much force? That's outside the realm of the testimony. And I call these the third thing. This is not about vindication of the defendant or messaging to the public. That's things that happen from the political branches of government the legislature or the executive offices, messaging is not what you're concerned with, it's the message the jury's sending. You're not messaging. It's all about how these facts affect these people. So when these little distractions and diversions come at you, I'm going to try to continue to narrow and keep you focused, not on the distractions, but on the issues and the law. Otherwise, you're going to ask later on, why did the judge give us instructions on messaging? Because that's not how this comes out. So I'll do this periodically along the way when things start going astray. Ready to go, Mr. Klingler?
Yes, Your Honor.